coming to you from Jezero crater on the surface of Mars. This is Mr. C.
Well, we can see the weekend from here on this Thursday. Hey, 8th graders, you will need your textbook for homework. And I'll tell you about your homework just a little bit later toward the end of the period. But in the meantime, you'll be glad you're here today. I've got a number of things for you. I've got one of the fastest roller coasters to show you. You're going to be in the front seat and ride on it at the end of the period. So you will enjoy that. I hope. I wouldn't, but I'm going to put you in the roller coaster. So I would have to have a barf bag along with me. Yeah, if I were in any roller coaster. So the roller coaster in California Adventure in Disneyland used to be a little too tough for me. So I'm just saying, many of you are rolling your eyes now going, oh my goodness. So anyway, yeah, I'm not built to ride on roller coasters. I'm just not. How in the world did I ever skydive that one time? I have no idea. I know I couldn't do it now. So anyway, but I want to show you this. I want to take you up to Mars and make a few comments about Mars. You'll want to pay attention, I would think. Okay. So if you were on Mars right now, you'd have a number of issues. So if I were on Mars, like it appears I am in this picture, and thank you very much to the student who sent this to me, I appreciate it. Anyway, if I were on Mars right now, I wouldn't last very long, nor would you. What are some of the issues? Well, the big issue is nothing to breathe. Well, there is something to breathe, but not what you need. So what would you be breathing? This gas. That gas that you're breathing out. Oh, you mean CO2? Uh-huh. Carbon dioxide. 95% of the atmosphere on Mars, CO2. Carbon dioxide. We'd be toast. Yep. Got 5 minutes without oxygen in your brain, and your brain goes to sleep, as in forever. So, yeah. So we want to keep the O2 flowing to the brain. So anyway, nothing to breathe up there. And then during the daytime, in the summer on Mars, seasons, yep. In the summer on Mars, the temperature can be all the way up to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Nice. And then at night, because there's so little atmosphere, the atmosphere is so thin, the temperature plummets to about 100 below 0 Fahrenheit, like on the South Pole. So anyway, incredibly cold. We couldn't handle that. We would turn into ice statues. So anyway, problems on Mars. Other problems? The gravity on Mars is only 0.38, 38% of Earth. The Lord designed your bones for 1.0 gravity instead of 0.38 gravity. So would our bones have the same pull or tug? Nope. Would they probably not be as strong? Probably wouldn't be. We probably would suffer, I'm guessing. I don't know how they're going to overcome this when astronauts go to Mars. But our bones probably would lose some of their strength. So I don't know if there'd be bone damage. I'm just guessing. I'm going to have to do some looking to see if that indeed would have occurred. Then you got high winds. So you got high winds on Mars. So you've got all kinds of issues. Hey, Mr. C, did God design Mars for life? For humans? Nope. Or animals? Nope. Or plants on the earth? Nope. He designed Earth for earth plants, for humans. and for animals that he put on the earth. Of course, it didn't evolve. God designed everything about plants and animals and humans to match the characteristics of the earth. As far as we know, he did not design anywhere else for life. Are you telling me there's no life on Mars? I'm not. Could there be life on Mars? Maybe. If there is life on Mars, who made it? He did. Because you know life can't form on its own. Law of biogenesis, right? Law of life didn't happen by itself. So, anyway. Hey, makeups, those of you who still got a test or two to make up, you just got to get those done. So, I will be coming after you soon, next week. You don't want to be on my bad list. Nope, nope, nope. So anyway, hey, while I'm talking, on your white sheet that Mr. Phillip has provided with you, and I think you maybe have a second sheet, tan, white, whatever color, that's going to be your cover sheet for your quiz in just a little bit. So if you'll number to 10, 10-point quiz. So if you'll number to 10 on your white sheet, name, date, period, upper right-hand corner. So way to go. Hey, don't forget about that constellation observation opportunity. So the COO, constellation, there we go, star pattern. Constellation observation opportunity, COO opportunity. Don't forget, right overhead, we've got the Big Dipper about 8 o'clock, 8:15, right there. Its handle stars point to the east to the arc of the handle. The arc or curve points to Arcturus. And then the two stars in the outside dipper part point north to the pole star Polaris. So arc to Arcturus, and then the outside dipper part or cup part of the Big Dipper point to Polaris. Not very big, pretty dim. You might be able to see it way in the distance in the north, above the North Pole. Pretty cool above the North Pole. And then, so that's hello to the Big Dipper or the Big Bear, Ursa Major. And then we've got goodbye to Orion high in the west now. Not for long though. The three belt stars point down to Sirius, kind of down to Sirius. It's tilted like that now. Kind of that angle tilt. The belt stars point down like that to Sirius, the brightest star. Arcturus, number 4 in brightness. Sirius, number 1. Point it all out to your parents. Get a parent signature. Now, be honest with me on this. Actually point out the Big Dipper, the arc to Arcturus, the Dipper or cup stars, two outside stars pointing to Polaris above the North Pole, Orion's belt stars pointing down to Sirius. So go for that if you want. Hey, Go Tappy package going to come in handy tomorrow, but sooner than that. Gifts, Go Tappy, right? GOTAPPI. 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 There we go. GOTAPPI. Gifts, opportunities given by God to us as our superpower. Gifts, opportunities, talents, abilities, physical appearance, personality, and then purpose, a great purpose, because God has given us all these gifts to use for Him in His kingdom. That's the purpose part. And then image, made in His image. Go Tappy package. So, hey, I'm going to tell you some things about speed in a little bit, but I want to tell you about this guy really quick. Who is he? There's his name, Charles Lyell. says the man who tried to rewrite history. He failed in some ways. He tricked other people and deceived them in other ways. A lot of people now, millions of people, tens of millions of people have been deceived by Charles Lyell. He might have tricked some of you, and I'm trying to untrick you. Yep. And I want you to be ready if you go to a public high school, and then if you go, and you probably will, to a secular university. Charles Lyell has even tricked some people at Christian colleges in the science departments. Charles Lyell, the man who tried to rewrite history. How did he try to rewrite history? Well, he was born in, 1797. And he died in 1875. He tricked Charles Darwin. How so? He wrote a book about geology, the study of the earth. And in it, he wrote that the earth is really old. Really old. And because of that, he tricked a lot of people. So he wrote that the processes that occur on the earth right now are slow. Well, they are. Yeah. But he said that those processes have always been slow, and they've not. Anything happened that speeded things up? Yeah, how about the creation of the universe? It was a quick process, 6 days. 6 days. You sure each day was a day? Yeah, because in Hebrew, day, yom, means 24 hours. And he wrote it as a parallel or as a reminder to us, to the Jews first, to work for 6 days, literal days, and then to rest for one, and really focus on God for one of those days. That's what our Sundays are about. Okay? And so not designed each day to be a long period of time. So anyway, but he tricked, Charles Lyell tricked Charles Darwin. Darwin took his geology book, 2-volume geology book, with him on his 5-year trip around the earth on his sailing boat, where he was a naturalist or the scientist, and wrote down all kinds of journals and all of his findings. And he began to believe that the earth is very old. And he later said, well, that's how I can get my time for the slow changes of living things. Except you remember the O-pillar. The O-pillar didn't give Darwin or anybody a long period of time. The comets keep coming back, so the Earth's not that old. They'd all be melted. The Earth's too hot inside. It would be cooled off by now. Dinosaur bones would have lost their DNA inside and their red blood cells, and they would have been fully mineralized by now, but they're not. And they still got their DNA, some of them, and their red blood cells. Not that old. Thousands only. Great science evidence, and I could give you another 95 science evidences. So, Charles Lyell, didn't work. Didn't work. You can't trick me. But he tricked Charles Darwin. And he's tricked a lot of people. Do you know that even our science book has the concept of the Earth's really old? And the 7th grade book as well, and the 6th grade book as well? Almost all science books that are written have the old age idea in them as if it's fact, when it's not. It's one of the reasons I'm not a massive fan of this textbook, because that's not the truth, that the Earth is super old. So anyhow, let me tell you what a geologist said, really famous. He wrote, the extreme rarity of transitional forms in the fossil record persists as a trade secret of paleontology. Do you mean Dr. Jay Gould? Yeah. Was he a God believer? No. But he knew Charles Lyell had invented a bunch of stuff. He made up stuff about the earth being old. Listen to what Jay Gould said, Dr. Jay Gould. He says this: Lyell was not the white knight of truth and field work, meaning in geology and in science. But he said he was a purveyor. That means he passed on fascinating theory. But it wasn't true. So, and here is the irony. The irony of history is Lyell won. He said the earth is old so many times that people just bought it, and bought it to this day. But listen to Stephen Jay Gould's last comment. Professional historians know better, of course, but their message has rarely reached working geologists. So historians know that Lyell didn't get it right. But he wrote it so much that it's believed in major universities around the world and included in geology books that the earth is old, when it's not. And there isn't science evidence to prove it. So anyway, don't be tricked. You will, that's what you'll hear if you go to a secular or public high school. You'll hear over and over, the earth is old. It's millions of years old, billions of years old. But it's not. And there's mucho evidence to the contrary. So anyway, that's why I do the O pillar, the old age pillar. Okay, we've got to do a quiz really quick. Here it is. What do proteins do for you in your body? That's number one. What do proteins do? Use your cover sheet. Don't be looking around. Mr. Phillip will help with that. So number one, what do proteins do in your body? Number two, what are the building blocks of proteins? Amino, don't say it out loud, just write the second part of the answer. What are the building blocks of proteins? Amino what? 3 and 4. Give me two just rights of protein chains. Proteins have, remember, 150 building blocks up to 34,000. So give me a couple, two of the just rights. I gave you maybe 5 or 6. Give me 2. 1 and 3 or 4. Number 1, what do proteins do? Number 2, what are the building blocks of proteins? There are 20 of them. 20,000 different proteins, but 20 different building blocks. Those building blocks are called amino something in number 2. 3 and 4, 2 just rights about the protein chains. Anywhere from 150 building blocks to 34,000. Number 5, how do proteins prove there's a God? Write a short answer, a bullet fact. Number 5, how do proteins prove there's a God? Six and 7, 2 of Isaac Newton's discoveries or inventions. Discoveries or inventions. I gave you on yesterday's lecture 4 or 5. 6 and 7, 2 of Isaac Newton's discoveries. Six and 7, 2 of Isaac Newton's discoveries. Number 8, what is a push or a pull in science? One word answer, a push or a pull. Number 8. Number 9, Isaac Newton was a believer in a creating God. True or false? Number 9, true or false? Isaac Newton was a believer in a creating God. True if he was, false if he wasn't. Number 9. And number 10, 2 things about Mars that are deadly, would be deadly to humans. I just gave you them. Were you paying attention? Good for you. Good on you, as they say down under. So number 10, 2 of Mars's characteristics that are deadly They would kill. They'd be fatal to a human. Okay, I'll go over them one more time. Here they are. Now you can't say, I didn't have enough time. This is a quiz. You were supposed to study for this. I went over this. It's supposed to be on the top of your head, and you can just write it down quickly. Now, if you didn't study it, no time will help you. Time isn't going to help evolution to occur, no matter how much time you've got. And no matter how much time you've got, if the ideas are in your brain, in your memory, no time will help you. So number one, what do proteins do? That's number one in your body. Number two, what's the name of the building blocks proteins are made of? Amino, and then finish it. That's number two. 3 and 4, 2 of amino acids chains, we call them. 150 building blocks all the way up to 34,000. 2 of the just rights of those protein chains, 1 and 3, 1 and 4. Number 5, how do proteins prove there's a God? Number 6 and 7, 2 of Isaac Newton's discoveries or inventions. Number 8, a push or a pull in science. What do we call it? One word answer. Number 8, push or pull. Number 9, true or false, Isaac Newton was a believer in a creating God. In other words, he believed God created everything. True or false? And number 10, 2 of the deadly things about Mars to humans. 2. 10 seconds now. Okay, put that pen or pencil away that you wrote the quiz with. Mr. Phillips watching all this. Take out a red pen or another colored pen. Initial it down below. Your promise to me in the Lord you'll grade it honestly. Here are your answers. What do proteins do in your body? Everything. They do all the jobs. They do 20,000 different jobs. So they do everything. So now if you wrote down one specific thing, that would be half a point. Number 2, what are the building blocks of proteins called? Amino acids. Amino acids. 3 and 4, 2 of the just rights of proteins. They have just the right number of amino acids. They are in just the right order. So just the right number, just the right order, just the right place in that order. Just the right folding. They've got to be folded so they can do just the right job in just the right place in the cell or the body. So there's 6. Just the right number, just the right order, just the right place in that order, just the right folding, just the right place in the cell or human body to do just the right job. There's another one at just the right time. So there's 7. You needed 2. How do proteins prove there's a God? I would give it to you if you put down they're too complex. They are. Or the probability. Remember the chance for just one modest or smallish protein to form by itself. 1 over 10 to the 1/64th. Just impossible. Not mathematically possible. Nope. 2 of Isaac Newton's discoveries or inventions. A telescope, specifically a mirror telescope. He discovered Roy G. Biv, the spectrum, using prisms. He invented calculus. Now if you put down, he invented some kind of math, I'd give you half. Calculus. If you misspelled it, I don't care. I think it's C-A-L-C-A-L-U-S. Okay? And laws of motion. So he came up with the laws of motion, law of gravity. There's 5 things right there. Number 8, a push or pull is a force. A force. Nothing else. Force. True or false, Isaac Newton was a God believer. creation believer. True, big time, yeah. By the way, the smartest guys who ever lived, Newton, Einstein, believed there was a creator. Now, Einstein didn't believe in a personal God, but he believed there had to be a designer. Just too much design for him. And then 2 problems, deadly problems on Mars. It's too cold, and there's no oxygen. High winds, I'd take that. High winds. And you might end up getting bone breakage because gravity is only 38% of Earth's gravity. Number right over 10, I'll double check it. Name, date, period, upper right hand corner, pass it in. And here's your homework. So you're going to need to jot this down. It will be on RenWeb as well. Mr. Phillip will help with this. He'll jot this down. On your own paper, you're going to write down what speed is, definition of speed, and the equation for speed. That's page 9. On page 9, definition for speed and the equation for speed, the mathematical equation. What is speed? Science, definition, and the equation on page 9. On page 12, what is velocity? V-E-L-O-C-I-T-Y. What is velocity? Page 12. Definition for velocity. On page 16, what is a definition for acceleration? A-C-C-E-L-E-R-A-T-I-O-N. Page 16, acceleration. And then I want you to write down your hypotheses for the 2 fastest traveling objects that you know of. What are the 2 fastest objects? They're traveling faster than anything you know of. 2 of them, your hypotheses. Here they are again. Speed, a definition for speed, and the equation for speed, page 9. On page 12, the definition for velocity. Page 16, the definition for acceleration. And then the 2 fastest objects that you know about, that you can think of. All of this goes on your paper that you're going to hand in tomorrow for 10 points. Speaking of speed, I'm going to show you a 2-minute video now on a very fast roller coaster from the front seat. Now I listened to it, so I didn't hear anybody. Sometimes people get going really fast on a roller coaster and they blurt out something that they shouldn't. Swear word. Not a nice word, so I hope I caught them. I think I did. So anyway, so Mr. Phillip's going to show you this roller coaster, and then if there's any time left, you are going to work on your homework on those pages. It'll be up on RenWeb. I will see you on Happy Aloha Friday.